The NASCAR Cup Series race has officially concluded from Nashville Superspeedway, and we see one of the wildest and wackiest NASCAR races of all time, and Joey Logano somehow picks up his first win of 2024. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. I just got done watching NASCAR Cup Series race from Nashville Superspeedway, the Ally 400. We had quite a bit to talk about from this race. Let's go and talk about it. This race, I really don't even know where to start, to be honest with you. Like the first 120, 130 laps, it was really straightforward. Christopher Bell and Denny Hamlin early in this race had the two fastest cars, and Christopher Bell dominated early. But then there was a rain caution that came out for lightning, among other things, and they basically went ahead and delayed it because of the lightning clock. Obviously, you've got lightning in the area. You've got to delay for 30 minutes. We had about an hour and a half rain delay. Once we got this race back going, actually early in the run, it was pretty calm, and Christopher Bell actually continued dominating. But then all the cautions started happening in the second half of this race. In the first 150, 160 laps, there were only 3 cautions. By the end of this race tonight, there were 15 cautions. 15 yellows by the end of the race tonight. 5 overtimes in this race. One of the craziest and most insane NASCAR races I have probably ever seen. And one, for me, of the most frustrating races I have ever seen. We get to 1 overtime. They start wrecking. Let's go back to that for a second. Late in this race, you had Ross Chastain, who was on 2 tires, and Denny Hamlin was on 4 tires. They actually put on a really good show and a fantastic battle. Meanwhile, early in the race, Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson got into it. But Denny Hamlin, Ross Chastain got into a really good battle for about 10 or 15 laps, and Chastain held off for a little bit, and eventually Denny Hamlin was able to clear Ross Chastain for the race lead. And it looked like Denny Hamlin was going to have enough gas to get to victory lane. All of a sudden, on the backstretch, coming to the white flag, Austin Cindric gets turned, battling Noah Gragson and Corey Heim. Corey Heim making his first start with 23-11 this year. He gets turned and spins out. And this is where all the chaos starts. On the first restart of this race, the big one strikes. Kyle Larson sends it way too hard. He's way too aggressive in the corner, goes up the racetrack, hits the apron, and gets into Ross Chastain. Kyle Busch gets collected, Austin Dillon gets collected, and multiple other drivers, including, I believe, Eric Jones as well, and John Remachek, also, and Ty Gibbs, also get collected in the wreck. Big mistake by Kyle Larson right there, completely unnecessary and a little bit uncalled for. Then a couple of overtimes later, because we got to a 3rd and 4th overtime in this race. Yippee, woohoo. Basically then, more chaos continued to pursue. Kyle Larson runs out of gas, and Kyle Busch, who somehow was back up to 4th position. There was a big one that happened, by the way, in the back straightaway prior to this between Corey Heim, then Brad Keselowski, a couple other guys ended up wrecking. Keselowski crashed earlier in this race and had a lot of damage. Somehow was still back in the lead lap, all things considered. Yeah, Kyle Larson, though, the next restart, who runs out of gas. Kyle Busch runs in the back of him, and Kyle Busch gets a ton of damage. Bubba Wallace also gets a little bit of damage in the wreck as well, and he had been recovering. It was in the top 10 near the end of this race. We get to the next overtime, and we have guys running out of gas again. And then we have Josh Berry. I think Daniel Suarez or somebody spin in the back, and Josh Berry spins. Then we get to the final overtime with Joey Logano leading, Chase Briscoe in second. Briscoe wasn't happy. Denny Hamlin, Mark Truex Jr. previously come down pit road, so they've got fresh tires. Hamlin had a really good car. Christopher Bell was good early in the day. He crashed out early. And then we get to the final restart. Joey Logano gets a great restart and is able to pull out in front, holds off a hard-charging Tyler Reddick, and picks up his first win of the 2024 season, ends a winless streak that goes all the way back to Atlanta in 2023. Technically gets a second win if you can count the All-Star race. Joey Logano somehow wins a wacky race. I have no idea how Joey Logano had enough gas saved to win this race, but he did, and good job by Joey Logano. And I'm not really mad at Joey Logano for how chaotic and stupid this race was. But Joey Logano put himself in the right position and right time. He got damaged early in the race. I think he had fuel issues, something like that. He struggled early, and they made that car better. They somehow got up front. I don't know how from some of the cautions and stuff, but they got in the right position. And Joey Logano, who'd been struggling this year, is now locked into playoffs, becomes the final Penske car to lock their way in, because the 11th driver to lock their way into the playoffs. Congratulations to Joey Logano on the win. Congrats to Logano. He gets his first win of 2024 and his first win in a very long time. So now we'll go ahead and take a look at the race results. I'll give my score and thoughts on today's race on what was this weird race. So Joey Logano wins. Zane Smith finished second. Talk about a fantastic comeback for Zane Smith. Zane Smith ran his whole entire race outside of top 30. Got benefited from playing strategy and gets a runner finish. Zane Smith, obviously, his future is very uncertain right now with Trackhouse because obviously SVG is likely getting the third Trackhouse car going into next year. But this run he had today is going to help his chances and opportunity. A great finisher, Zane. His first run finish in his career. They really didn't show how good he was all day. But second place, great day for Zane Smith. He finishes in second. Tyler Reddick finished his third. Tyler Reddick legitimately had a top 5 and top 10 car the whole entire race. Got stuck in traffic, was moving up to the front. Gets a really solid top 5. Reddick has now got his 12th top 10 of the year, which is super impressive, by the way. Congratulations, Tyler Reddick, on a fantastic and great run. He finishes in third. Ryan Preece finishes fourth. Another driver whose future is very uncertain. He could go to the Haas factory team in Xfinity next year. Probably not going to be in Cup. Runs like this today are going to help. He struggled early, ran around outside the top 25 majority of the day, but he got himself in a decent position and finishes in the top 5. Fantastic run for Ryan Preece. Chris Buescher finished 5th. He ran around 10th to 15th most of the day. Got benefited from some strategy at the end of the chaos at the end. He finishes 5th. Great run for Chris Buescher. Ryan Blaney finished 6th. He went a lap down after coming down pit road with not having enough gas. He led at points. He comes back and finishes 6th. Incredible comeback for Ryan Blaney. This 12 team's got the speed right now. They were pretty fast in practice. I thought he was going to be more of a threat and contender for the win today. He finishes 6th. Pretty good run for him. Bubba Wallace finished 7th. They were really good early in this race. They faded back because their car was not that great. They thought they had a loose wheel. They did get a stage point early. They had some contact. They faded really far back. They got involved in the Kyle Busch or Kyle Larson situation, and they come back and get a top 10. This is Bubba Wallace's first top 10. I think this is maybe Martinsville or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. So really good day for Bubba Wallace. Got a stage point. He's going to be in a unfortunately, because of Logano winning, though, he's like 60 points below the cutoff line because of all the chaos at the end of this race. He finishes 7th. Still a solid day for Bubba Wallace. So pretty much now must go out and win a race before the playoffs start. Kyle Larson finishes 8th. Kyle Larson had a very frustrating day, in my opinion. He dumped Ross Chastain going into turn number 1. He and Denny Hamlin had their frustrations throughout. Denny Hamlin was not happy with Kyle Larson, which Denny really should not have been mad at Kyle Larson for how he's raced Larson the last couple of years. Kyle Larson somehow comes back and gets another top 10. Larson still proving why he's a championship contender right now. Pretty solid comeback for Kyle Larson to finish his 8th in one of the craziest races ever. Daniel Hemrick finishes 9th. He really was outside the top 30 all day and somehow gets the top 10 9th. I think that's his 3rd top 10 of the year. Pretty solid run for Daniel Hemrick. Noah Gragson finishes 10th. Early in the race, he struggled, but he ran top 10, top 15 a lot of the second half of the race, so he probably ran about this good all day. Solid day for Noah Gragson in 10th place. Another driver's future is very uncertain going into next season. 11th place finish for AJ Allmendinger. He struggled early, but they played some pitch strategy. We're up front at points. Dave finished 11th. Not a bad day, all things considered. Denny Hamlin finished 12th. I think Denny Hamlin had the fastest car once Christopher Bell crashed out of this race. Unfortunately, ran out of gas and didn't have enough gas to get to the victory. Still a solid day for Denny Hamlin, but he's going to be really pissed off about that, unfortunately. He does come back to finish in 12th. Justin Haley finished his 13th. He actually had to serve a penalty early in this race because of some infractions before the race started during, I think, inspection before they went out on the racetrack. He somehow finishes in the top 15 and 13th. Not a bad day for Justin Haley. Alex Bowman finishes in 14th. He stumbled at the end of the race and dropped back quite a bit. Austin Cindric, who caused all the chaos at the end of this race, he finishes in 15th. Carson Osbar was involved in an incident with Harrison Burton where Harrison Burton got dumped by Carson Osbar. That was a pretty stupid move and childish move on Carson Osbar's part, by the way. He finishes 16th. Todd Gillen somehow finishes 17th. Chase Elliott continues his top 20 streak in 18th. Decent comeback. They were really good early. They spun out about 100 laps to go in the race. They were getting back inside the top 10. Unfortunately, they don't get the finish I think they deserve. He finishes 18th because he ran out of gas. William Byron finishes 19th. Corey LaJoie finished 20th after stumbling and getting damaged. Chase Briscoe, after I think maybe running out of gas, he finished 21st. Not a great day for him. Daniel Suarez finished 22nd. Ty Gibbs finished 23rd. Got a lot of damage. Then he had a really good car early in the race, but faded back. He finished 23rd. Mark Truex Jr. got dumped by Daniel Suarez on the last lap. He finished 24th. Mark Truex Jr. had about a top 5, top 10 car a lot of the day. Didn't recover. He finished 24th. Brad Keselowski finished 25th. Brad had one of the fastest cars early in the race. He unfortunately came down on Austin Dillon with about 70, 80 laps to go and sadly turned himself in the outside wall. He finished 25th. Josh Berry got a ton of damage. He was really good early but faded back, never had the raw pace or speed. He finished 26th. Kyle Busch, after crashing out, finished 27th. Kyle Busch went from having a terrible day at the beginning to a pretty good day at the end. Played some strategy, was inside the top 5. It was probably going to get a top 5. He got dropped back to 19th, somehow went back up to 4th. I really don't know what NASCAR is trying to do there with the call. Kyle Busch somehow finished 27th. Harrison Burton, after crashing out, finished 28th. Corey Hyman, his debut, he was legit running in the top 15 a lot of the day. I think it'd be really cool to see him run full-time with this team next year. He finished 29th after crashing out. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. finished his 30th. John Hunter Nemechek finished 31st. Austin Dillon finished 32nd. Ross Chastain, after crashing out, finished his 33rd. Eric Jones finished 34th. Michael McDowell finished 35th after power steering issues. Chris Bell finished 36th. Chris Bell, without question, had the fastest car in the first two-thirds of this race and was easy going to win. Once he crashed out of this race, that's when all the chaos really started. He finished 36th. Riley Hurts, after crashing out, finished 37th after some contact with Corey LaJoie, and finishing last in 38th place is Chad Fincham. So now, let's talk about the overall race as a whole, and I'll give my score and thoughts on today's race. I'm going to be real and honest here. This race was really, really stupid, and a pretty bad black eye on the sport. I'm going to be real and honest. This race started off with a lot of potential. The race was kind of boring in the beginning. It had some good moments for sure. You had a lot of side-by-side early, but really it was kind of a straight-up race to the first half. Once we got to the second half of the race, though, that's when all the chaos started. And I'm okay with the few yells, and it was actually playing out really good between Hamlin and Chastain. And then all the cautions started piling up. And for me, that just doesn't make the racing enjoyable, unfortunately. I wasn't a big fan of a lot of the chaos, and it kind of hurt the enjoyment of this race. I really don't know how to score this race, to be honest with you, because that was a bad showing for the sport. I don't know if maybe there needs to be a cap on overtimes going forward, because 5 overtimes in this race. That is absolutely insane and absolutely ridiculous. I think that's tied for the most since the 2004 Gateway race, the truck race, where you had multiple cars like Rick Crawford going up on a side or whatever. It was just in a couple areas like Chad Chapman or somebody else going up on their side, and Carl Edwards too. One of the weirdest and wildest races I've ever seen, and just wackiest and dumbest races. And I don't even know what to say. Like, what else do you want me to say? Like, this race was a complete insanity. And once these guys got back in their cars, it was calm at first, like I said, and it's just absolutely chaotic at the end. It's just really, really hard to watch at the end for me. I lost my mind by the end. NASCAR's got to do something about this. It's just really, really ridiculous. A lot of uncalled for stuff. Guys wrecking each other under caution. Guys getting spun out. Turning inside. Way too over-aggressiveness. Eric Jones hit the outside wall at one point. He somehow, I think, came back with a decent finish, all things considered. And it was just one of those races where I have to question, what the hell are we doing here? It just frustrates me. We've had a lot of good races this year, and this was setting up to be a great finish. Then Austin Hendrick spins, and everything goes to crap. It sucks, because this race had a lot of potential to be good. I was originally going to give this race probably a 7 or 8 before all the chaos started. The finish would have made us an 8, 8.5. Because of all the chaos, unfortunately, all the shit show at the end, I got to drop the score to 5.5 or 5. Just hard to watch for me, in my opinion. A lot of insanity, a lot of wrecks, a lot of stupidity. These drivers are world-class drivers. And to see some of the stuff I saw today in this race was just ridiculous, in my opinion. I get that you want to put on a great show and you want to have fun racing, but you got guys running out of gas, making clown show moves, running into each other, wrecking each other. It was very difficult to watch for me today. Probably one of the dumbest races I've ever seen, in my opinion. Was looking to be a good race, and it turned into one of the stupidest and dumbest races I probably have ever seen, to be honest with you guys. So that is going to be it for today's abbreviated NASCAR Cup Series race review from Nashville Super Speedway. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support my Patreon as well. Let's go below that. Comment your thoughts below on today's race, or whatever you want to do. Let me know your thoughts on today's race. Comment below your thoughts. Got a lot of great content dropping on the channel over the course of the next couple days. We're going to talk about drivers like Haley Deegan, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Carlos Kurt Busch as well this week. We're also going to have entry lists for the Cup Series and Xfinity race in Chicago. Looking forward to that race. That's going to be fun, exciting, and I got a ton of great content I think you guys are really going to enjoy, because trust me, I've got a lot of fun stuff dropping as we head to Chicago. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.